Yeah, thanks everyone. We'll get kicked off here. Appreciate you all joining us today. This is the first, I believe, the first webinar of its type that we're doing for Okendo with our new Okendo Academy branding, really focused on just helping you as merchants do better and be more successful with Okendo products. So yeah, I would like to officially welcome everyone to today's webinar, which is Strengthening the Customer Journey with Data, How to Drive Success with Quizzes. We're joined today by Lane and Conrad, who are from PillowCube and Cyclone Pods. I'll give them a more proper intro here in a second. But just to go over today's agenda, like I said, we'll do some intros here. For those of you who are joining who maybe aren't familiar with Okendo Quizzes, we'll just go through one quick slide to give a high level so you know what that is and you know what we're talking about today. Then we're going to go through 3 steps for a successful quiz buildup. So really that's the meat and potatoes of the learning portion, the academy portion, so to speak, today. And then we're gonna talk about some real world experience with Lane and Conrad. So we'll have a little Q&A panel and ask them about their quizzes that they've set up for their brands. And then we'll wrap things up with some Q&A from the audience. So, hey everyone, I'm Chris McGill. I'm our product enablement manager here at Okendo. And as I mentioned, I'm joined today by Lane Olson. He's the marketing director for PillowCube, and Conrad Kurth. He's the owner of Cyclone Pods. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to jump into the teaching portion here for hopefully it's about 15 minutes. Sometimes I get a little bit carried away. Hopefully not too much, hopefully not too dense, but then once we wrap that up, we'll jump into that panel and we'll hear from Lane and Conrad. We'll hear from you guys about your actual experience. So as I mentioned, just for anyone who's not familiar with Okendo quizzes, I think everyone's familiar with the concept of a quiz, right? A series of questions, and then you input your answers. And then really with Okendo quizzes, depending on what those answers are, we'll spit out, Okendo will provide a few recommendations. And really the idea is that we want to help merchants leverage Okendo quizzes to increase their sales with those personalized product recommendations. So really you can think of it as a massive conversion driver. So if that's something that you're looking to do, get more conversions, which I know everyone's always looking to try to increase sales and conversions, then this is a great tool for you. All right, so jumping into really how to build a successful quiz. So one, it starts out with planning your quiz. Or another way to put that would be mapping out your quiz plan. So as I just alluded to, quizzes are really great for driving conversions. That's one of the main key points of setting up a quiz, is to guide customers through a journey so that they convert at a higher rate than they would normally. So, where to start with that is you got to ask yourself the right questions. So number one is what are your performance goals? It could be in general, but also specifically for this quiz. Again, conversions, that's pretty obvious, but maybe you're trying to acquire new customers, or you're trying to increase average order value or collect more zero-party data. So that's a great place to start, is just asking yourself, what am I trying to accomplish with this quiz? And then the second piece of that, again, in the vein of conversions, is do you know what your conversion blockers are, so that as you're planning out your quiz, can you structure it in a way that helps overcome those conversion blockers? So if you know what they are, great, that's awesome. Take note of those and keep those in mind as you're building out your quiz. But if you don't know what those conversion blockers are, this is kind of a shameless plug. Maybe try out our surveys product, and you can run some on-site surveys, or you could run some abandoned cart type surveys, kind of uncover what some of those conversion blockers are, why someone didn't actually purchase. Take that data and then apply that as you're planning your quiz out. And then this is looking forward once you've already got your quiz built out. Beyond actually providing personalized recommendations in moment on site, quizzes are great for collecting zero-party data as well. So You can also be thinking about how do I want to leverage this data after customers have submitted their information in this quiz? What kind of segments or campaigns do I want to run with this data? And then last year is how do you want to promote your quiz, right? So the more you're able to effectively get your quiz in front of customers and promote it to them, the more folks that you have actually interacting with and taking the quiz, that's more folks that are actually going to be converting and making sales. So those are kind of four simple things to be thinking about as you're planning out your quiz. And then to kind of complement that is think about what type of quiz or how you want to frame or present your quiz to shoppers. So the most common type of quiz really is the product finder type of quiz, right? Someone is taking the quiz in order to find the product that matches best with their preferences. But there's a whole host of other ways, like I said, that you could frame your quiz or present it, or really goals that you can work towards to help your customers find the right product. So another one would be a bundle builder. So if you have products that really go well together, instead of recommending just one product, you can recommend a suite of products. A gift finder. So if you find that customers who are shopping with your brand are usually buying your products as gifts, whether it's personal or corporate, you can set up a gift finder where your customers can actually find the right gift for whoever they're buying for. Or another idea would be product compatibility. So say, for example, you sell like phone cases and you want to make it really easy for your customer to be able to find the right case for their phone. Instead of having to kind of navigate through your site, they can just take the quiz, input the information about what kind of brand phone they have, which exact variant it is, and then they can tell you all sorts of stuff of like what type of colors they like, so on and so forth. And then you can very specifically give them or show them a few options of cases that would perfectly fit their phone. So just want to throw that out there again in the planning phase. You don't have to stick to just the product finder concept. There's a lot of different ways you can go with quizzes. And then moving on to the second step here is actually building your quiz, right? So now that you've planned it out, you have an idea of where you're going, how you're going to present it to shoppers. You actually gotta build the thing, right? So the first tip here is really think about your questions and how you're planning them out. Think about the flow of the questions, how you're leading your customers, how you're leading the shoppers through your questions. Right here, I say, if 5 to 10 questions is a good balance. If you're just trying to figure out where to start with your quiz. But I would definitely say this is not a hard and fast rule. You can have fewer questions, you can have more. But if maybe you're asking 2 questions, probably not enough. If you're asking 20 questions, probably too much. You're probably going to lose out on some conversions. So just want to give that as a good ballpark range. Again, if you're just trying to figure out where to start. And then the other thing to keep in mind is, yes, you're building this quiz out to try to funnel customers down this journey, this personalized shopping path. But it's also a fantastic opportunity to be collecting additional zero-party data. So if there's certain information that you really want to know about your customers, candidly, this doesn't even have to link into the actual logic you set up for the quiz in generating the product recommendations. This can purely just be an extra question in there, a question or two, just collecting data and understanding your customers better. Next, this is pretty self-evident, but make sure you're using simple language that shoppers can digest and understand easily. Get straight to the point with the questions you're asking. Don't include too much verbiage. Just make it very simple for them to understand and get through the quiz quickly. And then next is use branching logic. So if you do end up having a little bit more of a complex quiz, or really if you just want to make the journey for shoppers more efficient, you can use our branching logic. So really all that is saying if someone answers this previous question a certain way, then either you can skip them down to a different question that's more specific based on what they just answered. Or, for example, if what they answer is like the main information that you need for the quiz to successfully generate a recommendation, you can simply skip them down to the final page, skip them straight to the recommendation. So definitely consider using the branching logic. Sometimes this can get overlooked, but is a really great way to make your quiz even more efficient and even more personalized for whoever's taking it. Number 4 is use images. Again, this is probably pretty evident in this day and age, but wherever you can use images, especially images that are relevant to your brand, relevant to your products, make sure that you're including those within the quiz, just to make it even more of a visually pleasing experience for shoppers as they're going through. All right, so those were some simple tips on the building side of things. And then last, once you've got your quiz built out and you're ready to actually launch it and share it out with the world, you need to think about how you're going to promote the quiz. So the number one place to start is definitely on site, is making sure that you include your quiz somewhere either in your main navigation menu or in your page footer, just because these are persistent placements for the quiz. Once someone knows they're there, they're easy to find, or really if it's in your main menu, it's really easy to discover for customers. So definitely that's our top recommendation as far as a promotion standpoint goes. But then definitely we have a ton more recommendations as well. So if you're just getting your first quiz launched, customers don't know that you have one, definitely consider adding a section on your homepage. Use some of that prime real estate there to make sure that customers are aware. Again, the more customers that you have interacting with the quiz, the idea is the higher the conversions that you're going to have, and the more revenue you're ultimately going to generate. The third idea here is use a landing page. So with Okendo quizzes, it kind of inherently is a landing page when you're setting up your quiz. So you can just simply use the quiz page as a landing page. But for example, if you're driving traffic from social or paid ads or really anywhere else, and you want to have a really custom stylized page, you can create a landing page and then just have a CTA, kind of like the example here shows, direct customers to then take the quiz, and then they can go through the whole quiz experience. And then there's a whole suite of marketing campaigns and marketing ideas that you can use for quizzes. So starting out here, social media, definitely make sure that you're leveraging these channels as well for promotion. So whether you have a Facebook community page or you have just a Facebook business page and you want to put the link to the quiz on your profile, that's a great idea. And then same thing with Instagram, X, TikTok, however you're posting, if you have a way to add a link there, instead of adding links to your website directly or adding links to certain products that you're trying to promote, maybe consider doing a quiz campaign where you're saying, hey, customers on social media, come find the product that's the right fit for you. And get them to go to your site that way. It's just another avenue to generate a little bit more interest in your product versus just blatantly saying, hey, come buy this product. Instead, it's like, hey, as a brand, we care about you finding the right product for you. Come take this quiz and make sure that you're getting the right product. This is definitely speaking to when you're first launching your quiz again. So run an announcement campaign. This is a great way to quickly engage shoppers, make sure that they're aware of your quiz. So this would be through really any channel. I should probably clarify that, but this could be through email, SMS, if you have an app, run a push notification. But really the core here is just announce that you have a quiz. And a few things to note is, one, you definitely don't have to send it to everyone. You can be smart about it, who you're targeting. One idea here is to target customers or contacts rather who have never purchased, right? So this is great if you want to use your quiz as an acquisition tool. Reach out to those customers who haven't made a purchase and let them know, hey, we've got this quiz that's going to help you find the right product. And then it can also be used as a sort of win back campaign. So kind of in that same vein, instead of someone who's never purchased, maybe someone who hasn't purchased in say 6 months or a year. This is another great tactic to get them to come back. And then also definitely make sure that somewhere in your welcome series, if you're running one of those, you're promoting your quiz. So this could be an email in that series that's dedicated just to talking about your quiz, or it could be just a little section or a segment in one of your welcome series emails, whether you're, educating your customers about your products, or simply saying, hey, welcome, thanks for subscribing to our marketing. Whatever that messaging is, you can put in just a little section or a little block in there about quizzes. Or the most simple option would be, if you've got an email header or footer similar to how your website's set up, you can put a link in there to the quiz as well. And then abandoned carts. This is perfect for quizzes, right? Because clearly this is someone who got really, really, really close to converting, but they didn't quite get there. So, maybe your first abandoned cart email is still pushing that customer to check out, buy the products that they do have in their cart. But maybe your second or third message, you can, not to say you've given up on them actually checking out on the product that's in their cart, but maybe things are becoming a little bit more clear that, hey, this isn't the product they intend to purchase, and you can push them in a direction instead of saying, okay, looks like you maybe didn't find what you're looking for, but we can help you find exactly what you're looking for, and you can promote the quiz that way. And then last, this is a very blanket way of putting it, but you can include it in really all of your campaigns. So really anywhere that makes sense to include a link to your quiz. Again, it's a great proven conversion driver. So anywhere that you want to put it in a campaign, put a link to it, put in some verbiage that goes along with whatever campaign you're running, and drive traffic to it that way. All right, so I know that was a lot of information really quickly. So before we dive into our panel discussion, I did just want to highlight that a ton of that content, really all of that content, is also in our help center. We've got a 3-part video series that walks through pretty much those exact slides as well. So that's already recently been posted and is ready to go. So if you just search our help center for our quiz help articles, you can find all that information and even more in depth written out. So I just wanted to highlight that because, again, I know that was a lot of info there. But with that said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and we're just going to jump into a little bit of Q&A with Lane and Conrad. All right. So yeah, awesome. Thank you guys again for joining here. Really, I want to use the remaining time of the webinar to go through what you guys did in those planning and building and promotion phases. And I know for both of you guys, you've only had your quizzes up for a few months. So a lot of this is also probably stuff that you want to start trying to do as well, like on the promotion side. I know there's a lot more that you guys can do. So it'd be great to hear what you guys have done, and then maybe some of the things that you guys are planning for your quizzes as well. So I'll just randomly, Conrad, I guess I'll call you out first here.
Sure.
I'll give you a chance to do a little bit more of an intro of yourself. Tell us about your brand, and then why implementing a quiz made sense for you.
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Conrad. I am the owner of Cyclone Pods. We are a nicotine-free vaping brand helping people trying to quit smoking, quit vaping, and better themselves. And so what was sorry, the second part was what do we do?
Yeah, no, that's great. And I guess the first question really broad here was, why implement a quiz? So kind of along with your brand
Yeah.
and goals, how do you see that helping you?
Yeah. So one, we kind of, fell into it, by chance. One, we had been using Okendo, but I wanted a solution even before Okendo came out, like of customers constantly asking the same questions over and over and over again. Um, and really just making kind of canned responses in support. So really we wanted something that could want to help alleviate a lot of customer support tickets, but also help guide customers to their end goal, and make better choices based off information through the website. Because converting through the website is a much better experience than going through like a support channel. So that's really what we were looking for. And then Okendo came out with quizzes, and oh my gosh, this is perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, and that highlights a point that I didn't necessarily cover. Because I talk so much about the conversion side of things,
Mhm.
but it sounds like this has also saved your team a ton of time
Yeah,
from a support standpoint. So
it
just
has.
highlight that as well as another kind of added benefit.
Yeah.
Awesome. Lane, how about you? Let's hear a little bit about Pillow Cube and what your guys' goals were with implementing the quiz.
Sure. Yeah. So, Pillow Cube's a brand. We like to have a lot of fun, and we build and make products and offer products for people that sleep, and that's pretty much everybody. But a lot of our products are designed specifically for side sleepers. And so when we decided to implement a quiz, we had kind of been doing a deep dive into some of our data on returns on some of our pillows specifically, because we have different pillow types, different pillow sizes, and we were finding that people were ending, the reason why we were getting returns and exchanges was because people ended up with ultimately the wrong size. So we knew that we needed to do some sort of, pre-purchase education to help people know which product was going to fit them best. And so that's ultimately originally why we decided to implement a quiz. And we've seen several other benefits from doing it, but ultimately it was to help address that issue originally. So.
Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, it's helping with those conversions again, but also I guess another side benefit is helping retain revenue, right? You guys aren't getting as many returns because customers are getting the right product the first time.
Yep.
Awesome. And then just to go a little bit deeper on, so we understand why you guys got a quiz, but curious to know what specifically about Okendo using our quiz solution was appealing for you guys.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that really quick, and then turn it over to Conrad. For us, it was just we were already using Okendo for reviews. So I like to consolidate as many of our tools as possible. So it made sense once it was kind of pitched to us as a solution and we had a need. It made sense to just kind of keep everything under one hood. So.
Yeah, yeah, very much similar to Lane. We are already using Akendo, so yeah, minimize the tooling. Also, I did try to look around and see like, other tools, but Okendo just had really easy integration as well. I think it's the new Shopify 2.0 template, so you basically just drop it in and put in your quiz ID that you want. So it was very easy to get up and going, which was a big benefit as well.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah. And obviously on our end, glad to hear it was easy and convenient. You guys are able to consolidate it and just add another tool to the Okendo quiver. So jumping into kind of your guys' uses for the quiz, right? We know high level why you guys implemented it. But on the data side of things, curious to see what kind of insights you guys have been collecting. I know I talked a lot about like segmentation and promotion, but I know in chatting with you guys earlier, there's some other nice benefits that you've gotten from just looking through the quiz data from shoppers who have submitted their quizzes.
Yeah. I mean, so for us, we don't like do deep analysis on the data, but we do kind of get like little checks, kind of see what people are thinking or what, our customer base is really looking for in products. Because you get like nice percentage base of like, oh, who's answering what questions. And so you can kind of figure out, where your customer base's head is at. And then coupled with our surveys, it's a nice like aggregation of data that we can kind of look at. Maybe one day we'll start doing more in-depth analysis, but it's nice just to be able to look at a glance and kind of see where things are.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think for us, it's been a kind of an interesting way for us to look at how we are going to develop future products. So we know what products people are getting guided to the most. So we know that we probably, especially from a sizing standpoint, we've made decisions based off of what sizes we offer on other products, based on the data that we've received on which products are getting recommended the most. And so it's kind of an interesting, when you dive into the data and let it help guide you in your, to something as important as your product development. There is that type of data there that can help guide those decisions.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think that's, again, I think at least from my end, working with customers, it's easy to just really think about conversions, because that's, I've already said it a million times in this webinar. That's a great benefit of it. But again, hearing on the back end the additional information that you're able to gain from these, and it can actually help direct your product roadmap. That's fantastic to hear. And if you're watching this and thinking, and planning your quiz, um, that's something else to consider is, how else can I use this data? So great to hear the different ways that you guys are using the information after it's been submitted by shoppers. I was going to ask you about conversion challenges that you guys were trying to overcome with these quizzes, but I think you guys already both answered it pretty well. Conrad, trying to make sure that you're really just helping mitigate those support tickets, get customers to the right product, the right place, and then Lane, on mitigating returns. Sounds like it's been a great tool. So I think I kind of just asked and answered that one for you guys, so I don't need to reiterate that. Let's kind of conceptually move on to the build phase then, right? So we talked about how you planned it, why you guys decided to get a quiz set up in the first place. But yeah, let's start out, and I'll let either one of you guys jump in here. How did you guys decide which questions to ask? I know you guys had the concept for quiz, but what does that process look like for you guys?
Wayne, you want to go?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, for us, we had to think about it a little bit, and we just tried to really back into the specific questions. We kind of know what questions we need to ask people in order to help them identify, especially from a sizing standpoint. So it's going to be, how wide are your shoulders? How tall are you? What type of a mattress do you sleep on? Some of those types of things that ultimately help guide people to the right, to the right product. So we just had to think through it a little bit, and it was very easy for us to identify the right questions. The thing that was interesting, and you may get to this a little bit later, is just really as we identified the questions, and then as we were running the quiz, ultimately we're able to identify a couple of questions that we were using that we didn't really need. And we wanted to keep the quiz as succinct and short as possible. I know, before you mentioned 5 to 10 questions is kind of your sweet spot. We've actually whittled ours all the way down, to 3 to 4 questions, which is, right on that verge. But we figured out, like, these are the ones that we absolutely need. And going through the data ultimately helped us identify, okay, these are the questions we need to ask. These other ones were a little bit of fluff, and probably not needed. So
Yeah, and absolutely, that's a great point, right? Because you built it and then you iterated and found out, okay, here are the questions, here's the results we're getting. This aligns with our goals. So I think that's definitely a great point to stress. And then something else I heard you say is you guys simply just had to think about it a little bit, like what quizzes. And that's part of building a quiz. There is a little bit of upfront of a heavy lift of really thinking, okay, let's make sure we get the right flow. But the nice part is once it's set up, you can just leave it, and it's kind of working on its own. But just wanted to highlight those. And then yeah, Lane, if you have anything to add to that, or sorry, Conrad, if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, very, very similar to Lane. We kind of how we took it was, all the questions that we'd been getting through customer support, but also, really figuring out like what niche does our product serve? Like, because we have various product lines for different sets of customers and use cases and styles. And really trying to figure out like what are those and what do they mean, and how much should we value these answers towards pushing into certain product lines versus others. And that's really like what we played with. And so, as customers go through this quiz, they get directed to the product that we think matches them the best.
Yep. And I think that also can't be, um, you know, I don't know the right words, but it's another point to stress is when you're building a quiz, which products as a brand are you trying to funnel customers towards? So, on one end, you're trying to give them a good experience, personalized experience where, they're putting these questions in and they're getting these customized answers out. But on your end, as a merchant, as you're building the quiz, you can definitely push your customers towards one type of product or a collection of products or another. And that's also something that's good to keep in mind. Again, if you're watching this, just wondering how do I decide what products to include, or maybe you have just a huge catalog. You don't have to consider every single product at least in your first quiz, if you're just trying to get up and running. Select some of those best sellers, select some of those more popular products. Focus on those and how you can direct customers to that subset of products that would be a right fit for them. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Conrad, because that's a really great point. Moving on, I want to talk a little bit about the branding side of things, because it is important not to just create a generic quiz. You want to make sure that it matches your brand's look and feel. I know, Lane, specifically, as part of your intro, you said you guys like to have fun. Talk to me a little bit about what you guys did in the quiz to keep it on brand, keep it in that line of having fun.
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting because earlier when you were talking about quizzes in general, you mentioned to keep them very simple, use simple language, those types of things. For us, we've definitely tried to find the line between keeping things very, very easy to understand and also having a little bit of fun. And so so one of our questions is, how tall are you? And on one end of the scale, it says like Danny DeVito, and on the other side, it says Shaq. And so it's like, rather than just putting a height, we wanted to like maybe try to have a little bit more fun with it. And we figured that those were two people that most people know, and that's ultimately like where we had to think a little bit, right? Is like, how can we infuse a little bit of our brand voice into the quiz, but also make it in a way that people understand? And, because we were, I guess, taking a little bit of a risk with people knowing who Danny DeVito and Shaq were, right? But we figured we were fairly safe with those two, but there were a lot of other names that were thrown out. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we need to think of somebody else who's a little bit, maybe a little bit better known. So yeah, I think finding ways to infuse your brand voice into your questions and not just have them feel like stale questions, or into the possible responses or answers for people, options, I think is a really important thing to consider. Not just the look and the feel of the quiz. Obviously, you want that to fit into your website and looks like it's all cohesive, but there's kind of that brand voice part as well that I feel like is really important.
Yeah, exactly. That having that like you said, the voice, like that personality of the brand shine through,
Yeah.
is definitely key. And then kind of moving things along here, towards, I guess I would say, the end of the build phase is actually testing the quiz out. I know, Conrad, you've mentioned you really liked, what we built out as far as testing goes. So would love to hear a little bit more about how you were able to leverage that and iterate on your quiz before you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I found the testing tool was really, really nice because, I didn't know exactly what answers should yield, or like, basically it's a little bit more art than science trying to kind of play with this quiz and get the responses that I wanted. So basically I would put in values, I'd tweak them, and I was really easy in Okendo, just test out the questions, and I'd run through it and run through it and run through it and run through it to make sure that all possible paths yielded what I wanted. And yeah, it was super simple to understand, easy to tweak, go back, test, go back, test. Yeah, and it took a little bit of time, but the tools made it much easier, not having to go to my website, publish it, refresh the page, everything. It was just all in one place. It was great.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's another great point of, especially if you're in the process of building on a quiz and kind of don't know exactly how you want to set it up. To Conrad's point, it's a little bit of art, a little bit of science. Just get something set up and then test it out, see what it looks like, see what the results are, and then you can tweak it from there. So that's another great point. And then Lane, I think on this question, you kind of already touched on this earlier, but you guys also use the testing feature to kind of easily iterate on your quiz, right?
Yeah. For us, we tried a lot of different things, but ultimately what it helped us do was narrow down to what were the most important questions to ask people. Once again, one of our goals with the quiz was just like get people to the right product as quickly as possible with the fewest amount of questions. So kind of going through that iteration and testing ultimately allowed us to identify, okay, these are the correct questions. And these are the only ones we need to ask.
Yep. Awesome. And that's great. And obviously it's been working for you guys.
Yep.
You guys have seen good results, and that's kind of a good segue here to move into the promotion side of things and talk about how you guys have promoted the quiz and once you launched it, what the results are that you are seeing. So maybe Lane, I'll stick with you. Once you guys launched the quiz, and it was live, how exactly did your customers know it was there? And, when they took it, what kind of results did you guys start seeing?
Sure. Yeah, so we implemented it, onto our homepage, and then we did a couple of campaigns through, email, SMS, to our current customer base, and kind of like what you were mentioning before, we took kind of the approach of people that hadn't purchased ever before, and we sent one message to them. We sent a different message to people who, had purchased but not for a little while, or abandoned cart. Like we kind of segmented some things out that way and sent different messaging about the quiz, ultimately with the same goal, right? To help people find the right product, and make sure that that they didn't have any questions about, am I buying the right size? Am I getting the right type for me? And so, yeah, that was kind of the original approach we took. And now it's been, we have it as part of our win back series. We have an email about that. But I think as well, this is kind of a pro and a con, but like it's been working so well that we kind of just like set it and forget it.
Sure. Yeah.
It's on our homepage, and it gets taken a lot. And so now that we kind of have it dialed in, it's kind of just let it give us information now. And so, yeah, we had some initial campaigns when we first launched the quiz, and now it's just kind of been running on its own.
Yeah. Awesome. And yeah, love to hear that, right? If there's a tool that you can set it, forget it, and it just works for you. I feel like that's mission accomplished, that we built a tool on our end that does that. So great to hear. Conrad, similar story for you?
Yeah, similar. We didn't actually do any outward marketing campaigns with the quiz. We kind of took an approach where we put it in key locations on the website where, people were exploring different products or reading about the comparisons and could jump into a quiz. We do a lot of SEO plays, and so, we put it on certain pages that were ranking really high for us. So customers who would potentially just be learning about some topic would then be able to jump quickly into a quiz and see like, oh, like this product actually works really well for me, make a purchase. And that worked really well. for us. We don't have like the largest product set in the world, but we have distinct enough that being pushed off those landing pages really helps. So they don't like get dissuaded from exploring the website or anything like that. It's just get in, read what they wanted to read, purchase, done.
Awesome. Yeah. It's making that easy, streamlined to purchase. Yeah. Love it. And then so okay, you guys, obviously we've gone through the whole phase here, right? Plan, build, promote. What were the results that you saw from that? How were you guys able to validate those results? Yeah, I know that's pretty open-ended, but just
Yeah.
like to hear
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
work
I
for you.
just saw a lot more sales getting driven in, and conversely saw a lot less customer support tickets on questions surrounding the products, which was great because it reduced some back of house work, but also was increasing revenue. So very happy.
Love to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, similar response here. As I mentioned earlier, one of our main goals setting out with the quiz was kind of the pre-product education, trying to drive down our returns and exchanges. Ultimately after putting in the quiz, we saw a double-digit percentage drop in those in our goal metrics, but then also some of those other, we saw a good lift in conversion and sales as well. So because people were able to find the right item for them. And so I think when you can remove those questions for people, it makes that path to purchase just a little bit more simple.
Mhm. Awesome. Cool. I know we're running up against time here, so I just got one more question for you guys to kind of zoom back out high level. If anyone watching is familiar with Okendo as of late, we've been building a ton of new products and really evolving into more of a true customer marketing platform and really trying to help brands drive what we're coining as super fans, right? Using all of our tools, our suite, to really get customers excited about your brand and coming back. So just curious, Conrad, Lane, obviously you guys are not using just quizzes, but you're using other products with Okendo. How do you see this fitting into your overall, I guess I'd say, super fan strategy of really driving, lifetime value with customers?
Yeah. So for us, it's getting the customer that right product the first time or that right flavor the first time, which leads to a much happier experience. Because sometimes, people in the past would order like, oh, I didn't like this flavor, I didn't like this device style, and they're a little bit disgruntled. And so getting them to that right products the first time leads to a much better experience, much better end customer, and a higher resurgence or higher chance of repurchase. So that just makes a better company or a better customer. And then with reviews and, kind of hooking it back up into there. So it definitely increases our LTV and customer satisfaction.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, similarly, we look at it almost as a cycle, right? So the quiz helps get them to the right product. They love the product. They come back and leave a great review, which is also run through Okendo. And then they've had such a great experience that they refer it to a friend. And then that friend comes in to the funnel and goes through that same cycle. So it's, get them to the right product, get them to leave a review, get them to refer, and the cycle starts over. And all of those products, are things that we're doing through Okendo, which is really, really great for us.
Awesome. Yeah. Love to hear all that. And really, yeah, that's our goal, our mission here, is to keep helping our merchants drive that lifetime value, increase revenue. So whatever tools we can do, however we can help. So really, really great to hear the ways that you guys at PillowCube are leveraging it. And then same thing, Conrad of Cyclone Pods, great to hear how you guys are leveraging our tools just to hear from real customers. So really encouraging for me to hear. Hopefully this was helpful for others as well, outside of just the training portion, but just to hear from real merchants how how Okendo is working and can give you some ideas about how you can leverage Okendo yourself, especially Okendo quizzes. But that's really all we have today. I know we're already a few minutes over time. I'm happy to stay on for just a few more minutes if there's any additional questions that come in. I have a few here that came in the chat that I'm happy to answer. And then happy to, if y'all need to jump off. But real quick, thanks again, Lane, Conrad. Really appreciate your time, your insights, just all the prep you guys put into giving some really thoughtful answers here. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah, no
you.
problem.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. So I'm just going to jump into the chat here for questions. So I see John asked, can someone drop the app tool URL? I'm guessing you just want to know where to find this. So you can go to our website, okendo.io, or you can go to the Shopify App Store, download it there. But really, if you want to go to our website and you can get in touch with our sales team, sales@okendo.io as well, we'll make sure to get you taken care of. Lindsay, you asked about the roadmap for quizzes, if there's anything else new coming out. This actually might be interesting to you, Lane and Conrad as well. We do have a few new additions for our quiz logic coming out. So I'm gonna say the buzzword that everyone's saying, AI. So we've got something up our sleeves with that to make quiz creation even easier. And then we have we're calling it points-based logic. That's going to be coming out pretty soon here as well. Just another way to set up your quizzes. So yeah, there's some exciting stuff coming out. Yeah, and then that looks like, unless there's anyone else that wants to chime in here on the chat, it looks like that was really it. So happy to let everyone go. Thanks again for tuning in. And again, if you're an Okendo customer or looking into Okendo, don't forget to just reach out to our team. Always happy to help y'all. If that's it. Everyone take care and have a good rest of your day. See ya.